Whenever you're
Can you
ready.
hear me okay? Thank you. Liz, can you turn that down just a tad because I get a little bit of feedback, but so glad to be here. As was shared, I am now honored to be on the Big Bear Retreat Center team as the general manager. I've been here for going on 6 months, and I'm so excited to see a couple of mindful Fed friends out there. We had a mindfulness community in federal government of 5,000 subscribers, so it's neat to see those two intersect. Um, yeah, I'm going to start off by just saying I'm going to do something maybe a little bit different than some of you who have been here previously. I'm not a transmitted teacher. I'm just a fellow practitioner who wants to have conversation with you and share in practice. And as you might see on the screen, can everybody see the screen? Yeah. I thought it'd be a little fun to kind of lean into the season. And if you happen to not celebrate Christmas or New Year's, that's okay. I hope that some of the conversation we're going to have is a bit universal about themes around just the human condition. And so I hope you feel welcome and included in this conversation, even if this is not your practice. So let's start off with something fun. A big part of the holiday season is ritual, right? Those things that we do, those traditions that we lean into year in and year out, some fun, some quirky, some downright annoying. Some of my favorite family's traditions are the media that we consume through songs and shows. So I like to bring my practice as I like to enliven my practice as much as possible to bring in that ancient wisdom, those ancient teachings, and see like how is it showing up like in this show I'm watching, in this song I'm listening to, in this very conversation I'm having right now. So indeed, we want to be aware of the teachings when we're sitting on the cushion, and then, well, how does that ripple out into our day? Because we do this not to be great at meditation, right? We do this to be just a smidge better at life, right? So that's just a long-winded way of me wanting to ask your question. What is your favorite holiday show? And not going to call on anyone, just take your mic off or put it in the chat.
We have some popping into the. Oh, wow, we have two votes for Elf in the chat. Val
Instant
like,
classic.
Val likes Hermitcraft, Liz, Nightmare Before Christmas, Deshawn, A Christmas Story, Marilyn, Wonderful Life, Allison loves Charlie Brown Christmas.
Lovely.
I
There's
like
so many choices, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said my favorite Christmas film right now is Best Man Holiday.
See, now I have these new ones I need to watch. So you can imagine like some of my favorite ones are summed up in this title of Grinchy Goodwill. It's just like it's not a holiday season unless I've watched The Grinch, Charlie Brown Christmas, A Christmas Carol, Christmas Story, Elf, like other people have said. Anyone know the term anti-hero? What's an anti-hero? Ooh, Die Hard came in there. My goodness. I still confounded that that's a Christmas movie, but yeah. So who knows an anti-hero? Yeah. Victoria, nice to see you again. What's an anti-hero?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. You said you weren't going to call on anybody.
you raised your hand.
Well, the anti-hero is unlike the traditional conventional hero who is like totally perfect and does everything right and triumphs constantly. The anti-hero is someone that's like totally challenged. Like Scrooge is an anti-hero in the Christmas Carol. The Grinch, I would say, is an anti-hero, though that's debatable whether he's a villain or an anti-hero, but he comes out as a hero in the end. So it's the opposite of the traditional hero. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes
Okay.
complete sense. Well said.
Okay.
I feel like you could teach a literary class on it.
Oh, yay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, the anti-hero is that person that we love to hate, right? You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. It's that you're the Charlie of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest, right? I mean, we even use that term, the Dickensian term of Scrooge, to mean someone who's a penny pincher. I've known to be a Scrooge with my family, right? So these anti-heroes are these characters that, why do we want to watch them time and time again? Why do they become a part of our holiday? Why do we love to hate them?
So like us.
Boom. Victoria's got the double mic drop, right? Their story is our story, right? They have this beautiful presentation of what is fallible in them, what is downright mean, what is downright despicable, and yet they're holding up a mirror to ourselves. And so today's practice is, and they're going to be kind of short and interspersed with conversation, is like, can we really just start to embrace the anti-hero within ourselves? A lot of our meta practice, a lot of our self-compassion practice is revealing the reality that, yeah, I can be a darn right Grinch. I'm often Charlie Brownie-ish, and sometimes I'm Scrooge-ish. So yeah, I invite in just your awareness of that and like how you experience these shows, or maybe it's songs, or maybe it's other traditions when you're not feeling downright like Cindy Lou Who, when you're not feeling like Tiny Tim or Bob Cratchit, right? And it doesn't mean that we're any less than. It doesn't mean that we can't like truly embrace the holiday spirit and the joy and goodwill in it. But the reality is that quite often we feel like this. And when I've really sort of discerned and looked closely at, I think, the genius of Dr. Seuss and how he presents this Grinch, that's why it's so impactful over these decades, because it every time we watch it, like whether we do it explicitly or consciously, like we see ourselves there. We see ourselves up on that mountain in that cave looking down on the world. And when you think about that in a somatic way about our practice, like how metaphorical is that, that like he's up looking down, like he's up in his head looking down at the world, feeling separated. And Seuss even brings up like his ice were, his icy feet, were ice cold in the snow. Maybe his shoes were on too tight. Maybe his head wasn't screwed on just right. So these very somatic things about contraction and not feeling kind of one in his body. And when he's looking down at Whoville, do you remember like all that noise, 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 and it's showing his head, right? Isn't that our practice? Is noticing the constant grinchiness in our experience? And so that's going to be our first practice. And so I'm going to stop sharing the screen and reorient to just us here. And I'm going to invite us to maybe not seek out like what's going on great in our body, but like what are those grinchy things going on in our somatic experience? Because our goal, our intention in this moment is not to change our experience, it's to notice what's actually there. So let's notice what's actually going on with your body rather than the idea of our body. And a very foundational practice that has lasted the ages is just to kind of connect with the reality, the thought that there is a body here. Maybe even just verbalizing that in your head, like, here is a body. I'm experiencing a body. That's a little too vague. Like you might go to those places of contact, like your feet on the ground, your seat in the chair, or your hands in your lap. Sometimes when we scan our body, it can be a little bit like we're still in our head, like we're envisioning our feet on the ground. I invite you to let your awareness sink down to your feet. We actually have to invite that awareness out of that space behind our eyes and between our ears, and get the pure sense of what is it that you feel in your feet? Do you have tight shoes on? Maybe your socks. Is there cold or warm? I'm noticing that I actually can't tell where the edges of my feet end and my ankles begin. I'm noticing just a buzzing. I'm noticing sort of an amorphous cloud of pressure and temperature. I'm noticing that there's no center or edge to the experience of this thing that I name feet. And it goes up into my legs. It grows into the seat in the chair and my back in the chair. So just inviting just a gentle scan of your body. And can you let go of the visual of your body, the labeling of body parts, and just notice what is there? It might be a buzzing, a pressure. And as you invite in more parts of the body, it's often helpful to invite in this experience of breath. Noticing the ebb and flow of the air in our nose and mouth, the rise and fall of the belly or the chest. And can you hold that awareness of that process as you hold in the whole experience of body? If my voice catches you in a moment of chasing a thought or a sound, it's okay. That's the aha moment in which we invite ourselves back to whatever anchors us. Awareness of breath, awareness of sensations coming and going. And we can very gently just touch and go with any sort of labeling of the experience, as pleasant or unpleasant. Again, not to change it, just notice if it happens and just be with the next breath. I'm going to leave you to be your own wise guide in this next minute or so, just with the invitation to find what anchors you, breath, body. And whenever you find yourself caught in story, caught in distraction, just the gentlest of invitation to come back. As we come to a close of this first formal practice, you might invite in a slight guidance to the breath, a little bit of a lengthening of that exhale. And so, for whatever count you breathe in, you might double that count and really ride out that exhalation as long as possible, maybe even possibly contracting the belly to get all that bit of air out. Notice that pause and then that relief of that next in breath. And then once again, a full release. We're releasing even doing, we're releasing trying. And if your eyes were closed, you might gently open them and invite back in the light and the colors, noticing if anything shifted. Notice if anything feels different. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And I bring the presentation back up. I welcome anyone's input about their practice. Kyle, feeling calm. I'm glad. Anyone feel agitated, bored, annoyed at Garth's voice? Those are all welcome experiences, right? We're not trying to, and I sometimes have to be careful with this. Like we have this intention, like maybe there's a different way of being in my life. And then the practice is letting go of that expectation. And so if you were just downright agitated, but you noticed it, what a wonderful practice you had. Part of our practice is revealing, what we may have been deluded, a delusion we may have held prior to practice. And the delusion I've had before practice was that this grinchiness that was within me is something bad, that it's something to work out of, it's something to avoid or knock down or distract myself from, because there's always this aspiration that, well, I need to be this Grinch, right? Why can't I have joy all the time? Why can't I be happy all the time? And that's fine. That's a wonderful intention, but it's not real. It's the delusion that we think that happiness and joy can happen without suffering and discontent and dissatisfactoriness, right? And so I think that's why these stories, these perennial stories are so impactful, because it's speaking subtly to the lived experience. It's sort of giving us a manual that we weren't given at birth about how we can indeed show up in our Grinchy self and still be invited into community, still be invited and reconnect with that original sense of wonder and awe and curiosity that some of these stories reveal to us. So, what are folks like, whatever your chosen favorite holiday show is? It could be Elf, it could be Die Hard. What is that arc in those stories of being presented perhaps with an anti-hero or hero, and often at the end of it, that sort of emotional upwelling that we feel when the bells are chiming, when the angel got its wings? Like, what is it about that redemptive moment that we can find in our practice? Deshaun, I might challenge you to find that moment in Die Hard. It's there, right? It's there. If we explore the three marks of existence, it's there. These lessons are in everything we do, right? Otherwise, they're not capital T truths. What is the arc in these stories that we might find in the arc of our year, in the arc of our day, in the arc of our breath? Deshaun shares, you too can be victorious even in your imperfect way of being. Yeah. right? Accepting what is. What came to mind there is that moment that after Linus shares what he believes the true meaning of Christmas is on that stage, Charlie Brown accepts that moment and he picks up his tree and he says, okay, I'm going to live out that moment. Goes outside and he sees the stars. So there's that moment of feeling Charlie Brownish or Ebenezer Scrooge, and then there's this moment of awakening that we have to practice. We don't just practice it on the holidays. We don't just practice it those particular moments. We practice it breath by breath so that it emerges more readily. And yes, the Grinch is going to come back. The mean one is going to come back. The Ebenezer Scrooge is going to come back. It's inevitable. And the awakening is that that's part of life, and it needs to be a welcome part of life. Suffering and joy coexist. Thank you, Adrian. So nice to see you. Yeah, I should have brought up Elf. Maybe this could all. I need to start over and do about Elf movie. That's the new classic. Okay, so I don't know that you came here just to hear me blab on and on about Christmas TV shows, but let's practice again. I just love connecting it to our daily lives. And so this next practice is going to kind of move from that close awareness practice where we're looking at the first foundation of mindfulness, which is body and form, and open it up a little bit. But we start where we always start, which is body, right? We start with the body because this is how experience emerges, right? This is how awareness emerges, is through this vessel of the body. And so this is a moment to look at, I'll stop sharing on the screen, but like you can just envision yourself there, envision your Grinchy self right there in that frame. And what comes up for you? Is it a mean one, Mr. Grinch, or is it the redeemed Grinch at the end of the show? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's just observing whatever is there for you and just fully accepting it as it is. So please join me in the second practice again of settling back in to this space where you can be comfortable enough to move into stillness in the coming minutes, but not rigid, right? Shift where you need to. See if you can get 2% more comfortable. And can you invite yourself into this space of stillness for just the next few minutes? Gently scanning our body, maybe again starting with the feet and moving up the legs to notice those pulses, those frequencies, that buzzing that we call sensation. And as you welcome back in direct awareness of breath, you can be aware of what's happening internally too. There might be hunger, there might be, contractions in the breathing space, there might be tightness in muscles. Welcoming that all in, and very gently noticing when you notice those spaces of contraction or tightness or discomfort. What happens when you notice? Does it persist? Does it let go? Does it shift? The realization there is that just the noticing of experience creates new experience, illuminates our influence over experience just by observing. In that first practice, we were gathering our attention around close awareness of the breath, close awareness of sensation, and we can hold that lightly while we open up a little bit more broadly to our surroundings. And the invitation here is that can you notice that it's all happening actually in the same field of experience? And so as you notice maybe a sound in your room, maybe it's my voice, maybe it's traffic, maybe it's birds, maybe it's even sounds of your body. That sound is appearing in awareness in the same space that the sensation of feet are happening. It's the same space. And so you might invite in just a general awareness of the space that we term outside of our body in front of you, that space that is usually in our visual field, that 180 degrees out in front. Can you sense into that space, whether your eyes are closed or open, it doesn't really matter. Can you sense that space? Can you lean into the corners of your room? Where does that space start? Where do you end? Is there a sense of separation between you and the space in front of you? And at your own pace, I invite you to open up more widely to maybe the space behind you. Can you sense in? Can you allow your awareness to spread in all directions? Almost leaning into the corners of the room, above you, below you. Where is your edge? Where is the edge of that space? Where is your center? As you dance with this awareness of space, internal and external, noticing if you feel edges or not, noticing if there are centers or not. I also invite you to allow the thoughts that we call distractions, or the sounds that we call distractions, or the discomfort that appears, acknowledgement that it's all happening in the field of awareness. I cannot detect different spaces of experience. It is just one field. These following minutes, again, leaning into your own felt experience and the wisdom that emerges from the sensations, thoughts, and feelings that you're experiencing. And being their watcher, being curious about them, and just allowing them to be as is. Settling into the space that they create when observed. Even as my voice emerges in your awareness, does it somehow feel separate from the feel of your feet on the ground? That last thought that you had. Are there edges to any of them? Or is it just an unfolding of experience? And as we close practice, invitation to again notice, is there a demarcation? Practice is ending, something else is starting, or is it just a flow? And with opened eyes and reorienting yourself to your fellow practitioners, what's coming up for you? Was there a pleasantness? Was there an unpleasantness? Was there a neutrality? Again, not with the intent of labeling good or bad, right or wrong, just sometimes just waking up to that there's something there. And for, for me, what is there in this theme of Grinchy goodwill is that it's yes and we are we are both Grinches. We're the Grinch that looks down from our head thinking space down on the rest of the world, wishing it would meet our expectations. And then we're the Grinch that suddenly their heart grows 3 sizes that day. And they come down from the top of Mount Crumpet and are welcomed into that new community of Whoville that was always open to them.
We've got a couple of responses in the chat. Madeline says, expansive awareness. Erin says, I felt my heart soften.
Mm. at the risk of comparing Dr. Seuss to the Buddha, the Buddha gave us a diagnosis of suffering, and he gave us the remedy, right? And there's that arc, even in the Grinch's story. Remember, he's diagnosed at the beginning, like maybe his heart was just 3 times too small, right? And in that short 20 minutes, like we're exposed to this arc of redemption through awareness. And I think, is it Val? Can you tell me? I think Val said something to that point.
Early on, Val said, I think all the characters live in an illusion, and realizing what is currently happening allows them to take right actions.
Mm, right? Yeah. So that's what practice is. We're remembering. That's what actually mindfulness means in Pali, is this sense of remembering, recalling that we're here. We're here. Yeah. And we're filled with memories, and we're filled with worries and plans and regrets. And we're remembering that, oh gosh, I was just in a delusion in that moment, right? So it takes practice. It's not something like that we can click on. At least I can't click on, right? It's going to take me a lifetime of practice. I'll maybe be watching The Grinch on my deathbed, learning a new lesson from it. And so it takes a constant sort of checking in and leaning into communities like this, leaning into our practice. And so I thought it would be fun to check our Christmas list, not twice, but thrice. And this is where I borrow from great teachers. And this is respectfully borrowed from Pema Chodron in these R words. And so rather than beating ourselves up about, like, for me, it was that the Christmas decorations were up before Halloween, right? I was like, oh, the noise, noise, noise. Like, and Christmas carols cannot happen until after Thanksgiving. I noticed that again this year when they came on. I noticed this grinchiness. I noticed this contraction. And I think maybe it's because I'm separated from my family, but I suddenly noticed, like, oh, that's interesting. And I leaned into it, and I was like, something, oh, right, I get to do the Christmas songs a week early, right? And so creating these accountability partners through community, through practice, through the wisdom of the ages is really, really important. And for me, the Grinch, that literal noise, noise, noise. If you go back and look at the cartoon, like these drum mallets are beating him on his head as he's listening to as he's remembering. Actually, it's not actually listening to. He's remembering kids playing with toys. Isn't that illustrative of our practice, that we're recognizing the constant, incessant noise in our own head? But quite often it's invented noise, right? It's not actually happening. It's the stories that we're telling ourselves about the noise in the world. And Pema Chodron invites us to, well, just recognize that moment for what it is. Is it real? Is it a memory? Is it a projection of some future that hasn't happened? And the next R step from Pema is refrain. So refrain from getting hooked by it, right? Notice that thought and refrain from indulging it. And that's where the Grinch is over that storyline. That's where his redemption starts, when he relaxes into the idea that maybe he just needs to break through the delusion, right? That Christmas is this thing that he's built up in his head. And at that moment when he has all the Christmas things, he's stolen it from them. He stole Christmas, right? And he hears the bells ringing, and he hears Whoville singing. There's that moment of, like, relaxing into just that sensory experience of that song coming up that mountain, right? He refrained from continuing the story in his head. He relaxed into the idea that maybe I don't get it. Maybe this storyline going in my head is off. And so what can we do to constantly listen for those bells, constantly listen for that song, that universal hum that's always there, that's always present, that's always accessible to us, that open us to Whoville? A side note, I find it really annoying when the Grinch goes down the hill and there's this circle of who's, and like the gate of people open up. Do you ever just watch next time? It's really weird. This gate opens up of people. Side note. So what is your Whoville? Is it family? Is it tradition? Is it songs? Is it being by yourself? Is it nature? Is it the gym? It doesn't matter what it is. It's just constantly reminding yourself there's who's out there waiting to welcome me in. What have I done to separate? And is there separation? Is there a border there actually? Or have I created that sense of separation? And then finally leaning into the idea that our heart can grow every day, right? It's infinite. There's no edge to that as well. You remember his heart actually bursts the little magnifying glass that's shown on it. It's too big to even be seen. And so can we resolve into those practices, right? And in that resolve, we dissolve that sense of separation. But it takes practice, right? Again, it's not a switch. And that's why we have ritual. That's why we remind ourselves through tradition and through ritual, watching these shows time and time again, listening to these songs time and time again, because we forget and we get pulled back into that delusion. Before we do a third practice, I've been talking too much. I want to hear your thoughts. Shortcuts in animation. I got to let go of that. I'm being way too grinchy about the Who gate that opens up.
So Val
Pause.
has heard a
Yeah,
little
go ahead.
more. Says when I think and do for others, the less of me there is. Christmas time is my favorite holiday as others practice selflessness too.
Mm, thanks, Sal. Yeah, please, Victoria.
Wasn't sure what the protocol was. Um, I just had a really amazing experience this morning where I've been feeling really lonely, and because my family members are a combination of dead and estranged. I mean, not the same. um, and it's such a family holiday this whole season, and I got involved with the local Filipino community because they just go berserk during this time of year with lights and these celebrations. They have this festival called Simbang Gabi that goes for 9 days before Christmas, and it's always like before dawn. Everything has to be done before the rooster crows, and there literally is a rooster at the local Filipino church. Um, and anyway, I don't want to go into the whole story, but I've been feeling very alienated and like I don't have any friends, and feeling sorry for myself, very Grinch-like too, because then I fly into rages when I'm provoked. And yesterday, I was talking to somebody about music, and he asked me. It was the man that plays the piano for these 9 days, these services, and I was asking him something, and he said, "Oh, are you a musician?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Oh, well, why don't you come and play with us?" And I said, "Oh, okay." And I mean, it was just so odd because it's like I mean, that's my profession, but I don't equate it with these things that are just kind of ad hoc community events. So I went there this morning at 6 before 6 in the morning, which I normally musicians are night people. Anyone that's a musician knows that. And I played, and it was just, I mean, it was really simple, like, because I'm a professional, so this is like, it just it wasn't even in my mind, this kind of thing. And the outpouring of gratitude from these people, just, it was a combination of embarrassing and then incredibly touching and moving. And people were just like swarming around me because there's always a breakfast afterwards. And suddenly I realized, this is my family. These are my people. This is my chosen family. This is my community. And all it took was for me to participate. and it was very moving and very beautiful. And I realized how, and to me that's the message of the Grinch and Scrooge. All of a sudden Scrooge at the end has this beautiful family of Cratchit's family that he had pushed away by his behavior. And anyway, I don't want to talk too much, but I really love this, what you're doing, Garth. It's fabulous. And this is I hope it's recorded. I don't know if you record, but I feel like I want to send this out as my Christmas card to everybody. This whole session was just really great. And so anyway, it was perfect timing, because just all morning I've been thinking about how it's our own reluctance, it's our own resistance, that the dukkha, we're actually like reinforcing it ourselves in some way when we because when we isolate. And opening up to the possibility and to the community is such a beautiful thing. And then it's all there waiting for us, like all this love. And anyway, I'm sorry I'm pontificating, but I really love what you're doing today, and I just want to thank you for that, and thank Big Bear.
Yeah, no apologies necessary. Thank you for sharing. Some gratitude shared with you in the chat. Anyone else want to respond, share? Yeah, it's a special time of year where even where especially practice can, even when we're feeling lonely, especially when we're feeling lonely, especially when we're feeling isolated, like the Grinch did, like Charlie Brown did, like Scrooge did, right? That we are the only ones that have influence over that experience, right? Causes and conditions outside of us are that causes and conditions that we can influence towards wholesomeness, towards loving kindness, towards goodwill. But it's not going to happen if we resist the Grinch within us. It's not going to happen if we say, why aren't I Tiny Tim? Right? So it needs to be a yes and that's what practice reveals. And we're going to close with a very short loving kindness practice. Because for me, loving kindness practice is like this, to be honest, this resistance space. Whereas like, I cannot recite this Hallmark card one more time because it feels not me. And then I was like, oh, that's me. That's the Grinchiness, right? I need to recite that Hallmark card one more time. Okay. Maybe a little bit of shift. Okay, one more time. Let's do it one more time. Right. One more take. So let's do that. And again, it's not that the goal here is to be different than what we are. It's to notice that we can have this intention of this, of 10 Grinches plus two, right? Of carving the roast beast, right? And when that doesn't feel present, that's okay. That's okay. Right? It'll come. It's the trusting in the process. It's in the trusting of our teachers. It's in trusting in the Sangha. And indeed, like Victoria pointed to, the Sangha, the community is waiting. It's always waiting. Are we going to wake up to that invitation? Right? A fellow colleague of mine told me when I started this job, when I said, man, I've left my Sangha, my Sangha's back home. And that person said, this is your Sangha. So yeah, I had to wake up. I was in a delusion. The Sangha was around me. I didn't hear those bells ringing. All right, let's practice. We're going to check our Christmas list thrice, and we're going to resolve to lean into practice. And so we start, as we always do, first foundation of mindfulness, body, form, sensation. And we've practiced a couple of times here so we can kind of move a little bit more quickly through it. Feet on ground and backside in chair, hands in lap. And there's our practice partner, the breath. If the breath is not your go-to, whatever brings you back into the reality that there is a body here. Maybe it's the experience of sound. And as we lean into that awareness of sensations coming and going, I'm going to move us into a space of sharing some words that are just that. They're merely words that are symbols of some experience, and they might not be your experience. And so you be your best supporter and translate those words into whatever resonates with you. You can just let those words snow down on you. You can let them be a backdrop to your experience. The intention is not to latch on to them. The intention is not to judge them. The intention is just to let them be what they are and notice what it creates in you. So for this first go round of practice, I invite you to kind of recognize yourself maybe in that Grinchy costume, the one at the top of the mountain looking down at the world. And can we offer up some invitation to that internal Grinch, Scrooge, Charlie Brown, with just some simple well wishes? May you be safe and healthy. May you live with a sense of peace and ease. May you know joy and goodwill. Noticing how that feels in our body. And it is a practice, so we do it over and over again. Dear Grinch, may you be safe and healthy. Dear Grinch, may you know a sense of ease and peace. My dearest Grinch, may you know joy. May you know goodwill. This final round, just letting go of any visuals, just being in your body. No trying to do this or trying to experience that. Just be. Breathe into these words as I offer them. Recite them if they're helpful. May I be safe and healthy. May I know a sense of peace and ease. May I experience joy and goodwill. As we move to close our time together, I'll share my invitation that I have when I leave practice is, can I allow this to ripple off this proverbial cushion into my day, into my next conversation, into my next email, into my next meeting? I will return. I will don the Grinch costume again and again and again, right? And that's the practice, the constant arc towards redeeming ourselves, the constant arc of being not being invited, realizing that the invitation is always there to come back to Whoville. I hope BBRC is a Whoville of sorts for you. Whether you've ever been on retreat here or not, you do belong here. You belong wherever you are, especially here. And so as 2026 approaches, I hope that you entertain the idea of coming and being here in person with us. We will be that weird Whoville gate that opens. And if not, maybe this is where your Sangha is, right? Week in and week out. Kiki shared the Dana page. We welcome your generosity in this time of giving. And I'm excited to share that we sort of pivoted and said the holidays can be challenging and we want to be present for you if you'd like to continue to practice. So we are going to practice next week. We are going to practice the following week at same time, same place, right? So Liz, if you raise your hand and let folks know you're going to be leading practice here for the next 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for the email. It's the same Zoom channel. Deep gratitude to everybody. I'm really grateful. I'm wishing you the happiest of holidays. And if you're ever feeling a little bit alone, just throw in that Grinch show, and maybe you can remember this community that shared a little bit of it with you. But be your best Grinchy selves. Happy holidays, and see you in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.